Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy T for 365 Horror, and this is a horror movie discovery channel. I am just here to put as many horror movies on your watch list as possible. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at 7 brand new releases for you guys to watch and stream today. So let's get into it right now. Now, we are going to get right into the video, but before we do, I've got to remind you guys to please like and subscribe if you like this content. Also, this video is best watched with a movie tracker. I like to use Letterboxd. It's just the easiest way to keep track of the movies that you've seen and want to see. And lastly, these are just a preview. These are not reviews and recommendations. If you did want some reviews and recommendations, then I suggest you watch my Every Movie I Watched in a Month series and my You Should Watch series. This is just a series for the diehards like me who are always looking for something new to watch. Also, I'm sorry there was no episode last week as there was only really one movie that came out, so I just kind of skipped it. I do want to try to keep this to around 3 or 4 movies minimum. And of course I added that movie in this list, so there's nothing to be missed. So let us get right into some new movies. The first movie I'm going to talk about this week is a little bit of an error I want to correct. A couple weeks ago, I had said that the Vourdalak had come out, and if you were looking forward to that movie and looked for it, you might not have found it because I did realize that it was a limited release, which I didn't find out until this week when I saw it just released in regular VOD digital. So if you were looking for the Vourdalak and you couldn't find it, check that one out. It should be released by now. So the first movie we're going to take a look at this week is a horror mystery thriller called Demon Behind the Glass, and it's available on VOD digital.
This story is going somewhere.
A fallen journalist rents a home and finds decaying remains inside the wall. A string of murders reveals a demonic clan hunting humans. He must navigate their evil plot to survive. It is directed by Joshua Racine. Okay, after watching the trailer for Demon Behind the Glass, I wish we had a little bit of a better movie to kind of start this week out, but I mean, this one does look okay. Now, I wasn't really a huge fan of the acting or the CGI in this movie. They kind of looked mad at me, but I mean, it did look like this one could be bloody. Now, I also didn't really mind the premise as, you know, a writer finding remains in his home. That could be creepy, a good mystery, but I just saw nothing that really jumped out at me in this one. This movie will most def have a little bit of a lower spot on my watch list.
I think you came here to sell a story.
I have a sense when it comes to stories. It's like a smell that I can follow.
An hour ago, your story was about fracking. Now it's about a resurrected peeping Tom that bites.
The next movie we're going to take a look at this week is a horror thriller by the name of The Last Breath, and it's available on VOD digital. A group of old college friends reunite on a Caribbean scuba diving trip, exploring the wreckage of a World War II battleship, and find themselves trapped inside the underwater labyrinth of rusted metal and surrounded by great white sharks. It is directed by Joachim Hedden. Okay, so after watching the trailer for The Last Breath, it's always good to see a shark horror movie in the mix. Now, the acting and production look good, and with me having a little bit of thalassophobia, definitely some of the dark underwater scenes looked like it'd have some creeps and uneasy feelings for me. Now, the CGI on the shark didn't look too bad, and it looks like we might get some good shark bites and gore in this one. Now, in my spare time, I tend to listen to a lot of cave diving gone wrong or caving gone wrong videos, so I did appreciate the kind of tension and angle they added with them having kind of an air crisis, because I found that it added a little bit of a survival horror element to the movie. This underwater horror will get a regular spot on my watch list.
What is going on? Everybody just calm down. Oh, shit. We have to stop the bleeding.
Next movie we're going to take a look at is a drama horror called Starve Acre, and it's available on VOD digital. An idyllic rural family life of a couple is thrown into turmoil when their son starts acting out of character. It is directed by Daniel Kokotajlo. Okay, after watching the trailer for Starve Acre, this looks like a good and intriguing folk horror film. I thought the acting and production looked solid, and I really liked some of the descriptors that they were putting up in the trailer. Now, in the trailer, they described the movie as disturbing and twisted and a descent into madness. So I have a feeling we're going to get a little bit more of a traditional drama horror where they really focus on character development. Also, I felt like the trailer really intrigued me because they just dripped enough of the story to you to kind of make you interested in what's going on. And it looks like a pretty decent movie. This one will probably have a little bit higher of a priority on my watch list.
It's gonna be okay.
The next movie we're going to take a look at is a horror mystery romance called DreadClub, Vampire's Verdict, and it's available on VOD Digital.
Yeah? What's that?
You want to share in the curse of Emerald and
Betty Gray, a college student obsessed with gothic romances, finds herself living one when she falls for Duchamp Devey, a man on trial for being a vampire. It is directed by Huru Jackson. Okay, after watching the trailer for DreadClub, this one was kind of weird, and I'm gonna leave it on this list reluctantly. Now, I don't really cover animated horror on here, and I'm not really interested in it, but this one being described as 100% AI generated, even the characters and voices, it just kind of made me want to see it out of pure curiosity. Now, I must admit that the animation style on this one looks kind of disjointed, and the characters, they just looked a little weird how their mouth movements were and stuff, but I still may just give it like a minute just to see what it's about, again, purely out of curiosity. Now, I must admit, while I don't really have high hopes for this film, we might just see something interesting here. This movie will probably have a low priority and be a watch last on my watch list.
I've done some digging. There were other lawsuits. He's been involved in stuff like this for years.
What is a vampire?
A vampire is the opposite of God.
You really did something to them. And I'm like afraid you'll do the same to me.
Are you afraid? Or are you dying to know?
Next, we're going to take a look at a drama horror sci-fi movie by the name of A Quiet Place Day 1, and it's available on VOD Digital. A young woman named Sam finds herself trapped in New York City during the early stages of an invasion by alien creatures with ultra-sensitive hearing. It is directed by Michael Sarnowski. Okay, now after watching the trailer for A Quiet Place Day 1, I have to admit that I'm still a little bit disappointed that this one won't be featuring the original characters. Now, although I thought it would be interesting to see their lives day one, I do kind of get their design choice because they would have robbed us from all the tension of what happens to the main characters if we just knew that they survived. So I do get it from the perspective of trying to ramp up tension, that we don't exactly know the outcomes of the characters. Now, this is a well-established franchise so far with some good movies under its belt, so I'm interested to see a good world destruction movie with some good tension in it. And just from the look of it, you can tell that this is going to be a big budget film with good production and acting. Unfortunately, I haven't heard very many good things about this movie so far, but I'm going to reserve judgment and give it a higher priority on my watch list. Next movie we're going to take a look at is a horror sci-fi thriller by the name of The Abandoned, and it's available on VOD Digital.
What if only one of us is supposed to make it out?
A wounded soldier awakens in a strange cube that tests his physical and mental limits as he attempts to find a way to escape against a ticking clock. It is directed by Jason Satterland. Okay, after watching the trailer for The Abandoned, this looks like an interesting horror sci-fi movie, especially premise-wise. I really enjoyed the mystery they built up in the trailer, and I just love these puzzle-style movies. Now, the acting looked decent enough, and I'm just hoping that they can execute something good out of this one. Now, I also liked how halfway through the trailer on this one, they kind of introduced an unseen character. That, and with all the weird things that happens while they're in this prison, really adds to the mystery of the film, in a good way. And although the film doesn't look like it contains any real traditional creeps and scares, it does look like we get a main character that's tested and goes through a lot of trials and tribulations. To be honest, this movie doesn't look too bad and will have a regular spot on my watch list.
What is this? This is just
Hello?
Who is this?
My name is Dancy.
Next, we're going to take a look at a movie that they didn't really have categories for, but just looking at the trailer, it kind of reminds me of maybe horror, maybe fantasy, I want to say. And that is a movie called Pale Horse, and it's available on VOD Digital. Art, love, and dark magic come together in this gothic tale of an eccentric man who summons a vengeful spirit to manifest his desires and make him a great artist. It is directed by Pierre Reginald Teo. Okay, after watching the trailer for Pale Horse, I wasn't exactly sure what to make of this one. I mean, it definitely has a fantasy vibe, but I didn't know exactly what to make of the kind of David Bowie and Labyrinth vibe that I got from the trailer. Now, I do enjoy the premise to this one, as I do like stories where artists sell their soul to the devil to make it. And artists are just eccentric enough that I do feel like we might get something very weird and art house here. But from watching the trailer, my only danger is it going to be too weird? That's the question. Now, after watching it, the trailer didn't really grab me like I wanted it to, and the sound production really threw me off, but I'm sure that's not going to make it to the final cut of the movie. Another point for the bright side is the movie did look kind of bloody, but then the blood and the gore kind of also looked cheesy. Now, I got to admit, after watching the trailer, I just don't know what to make of this movie, and I don't know if it's going to be good. But it kind of trickled enough to me that I have enough curiosity to just give it a watch, probably lower on my watch list.
You have to take a look at this. It's this artist. He's incredible.
I am Sabian.
He's saying he only wants the basement. What's even more weird is that no one is allowed to enter and that all of his assistants have to be blind.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for another edition of new movies for you guys to watch and stream. I hoped you liked this content, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Now, if I had to make a couple of picks this week, the first movie I would pick is A Quiet Place Day One. I just really enjoyed the franchise. I liked the first movies. Even though I haven't heard very much critical acclaim from this one, I'm still interested to watch it for myself. Now, the next pick I would make this week is Starve Acre. I just thought it looked like a really creepy, dark kind of folk horror tale. I loved the premise of it. I just thought it looked weird. I really liked how they described it being disturbing and twisted, and I really think there's a propensity to see something dark here. And my last pick for the week, just because I do like these kind of puzzle movies, is I do want to see The Abandoned. I'm interested to see exactly the situation that he's in and what caused it. Is it aliens? Is it some sort of prison? I was also intrigued by the introduction of the weird character and only being a voice. It looks like it's shot relatively in one location, and those movies, if executed well, can still be profound, so I am curious to watch that, and that'll be my last pick this week. Well, guys, again, thanks for joining me, and if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I hope you guys have been well and are taking care of yourselves, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.